Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Ryan. Whether you're commuting to work, doing the dishes, or just relaxing with a cup of chai, thank you for joining us. This is Speak Up, the podcast where we help you grow your English skills in real, practical ways without the boring grammar lectures.
And I'm Priya. We're so happy to have both new and returning listeners here. If you're someone who wants to speak English more fluently, more confidently, and more naturally, you're in the right place. We keep things simple, fun, and useful, just like friends talking over coffee.
Absolutely. We know that many of you are working hard, juggling jobs, family, and life, and still want to improve your English. That's why every episode is made to fit your daily routine. No pressure, just helpful tips, real conversations, and useful topics you can start using right away.
So if you've ever felt nervous while speaking English or unsure of how to practice properly, don't worry, you're not alone. Today, we're talking about a smart, easy technique that many learners use to improve fast. It might feel a little strange at first, but it really works.
All right, so we've talked about how learning English should feel natural and useful, and now let's get into something that really helps with that, the shadowing technique. It might sound fancy, but it's actually very simple. Shadowing means you repeat what you hear in English right away like an echo. So for example, if you're listening to a podcast and someone says, "I went to the market," you say the same sentence immediately at the same time or just a second later. The goal is to copy the sound, the rhythm, and even the emotion behind the words.
Exactly. And it's not the same as just repeating after someone in the traditional way. With shadowing, you don't wait for the sentence to finish. You try to speak along with it. That's what makes it powerful. You're training your ears and your mouth at the same time. It pushes you to focus on how the language feels, not just how it looks on paper. It's like dancing. You follow the steps until your body remembers them. Shadowing helps your mouth remember English, so speaking becomes more automatic over time.
That's such a good comparison, Priya, because just like dancing, you can't learn by only watching. You have to do it. When you shadow, your brain starts to connect sounds and meaning without needing to translate from your native language. That's a big deal. You're basically building a habit of thinking in English. And the best part? You can do it alone, anywhere. All you need is some audio and the courage to speak out loud, even if it feels weird at first.
And trust me, it does feel weird the first few times. But once you get used to it, it becomes fun. One thing I love about shadowing is that it helps improve multiple skills at once. You're not just practicing speaking, you're also improving your listening, your pronunciation, and even your fluency. It's like a 3-in-1 workout for your English. And the more you shadow, the more natural your English starts to sound.
I totally agree. And you don't need any fancy tools to get started. Just pick something simple, maybe a clip from a YouTube video, a short podcast episode, or even a movie scene. Choose someone who speaks clearly, hit play, and start copying them, word for word. You'll start noticing the way native speakers pause, how they stress certain words, and how the sentences flow. And slowly, you'll start to speak the same way without even trying too hard.
Yes, and I always tell learners, don't worry about being perfect. Shadowing isn't about sounding exactly like a native speaker right away. It's about getting your brain used to English sounds and training your mouth to follow naturally. Even 5 minutes a day can make a huge difference if you do it consistently. So if you're shy or unsure how to start speaking, shadowing is like having a private speaking partner who never gets tired.
Now, you might be wondering, why does shadowing actually work? Great question. The truth is, our brains are built to learn through imitation. Think about babies. They don't study grammar, they copy sounds they hear. Over time, their brain connects those sounds to meaning. When you shadow in English, you're doing something very similar. You hear the sentence, and your brain starts building a mental pattern. The more you repeat those patterns, the more natural they feel. That's how habits are formed, by repeating small actions again and again.
Exactly, Ryan. And there's another part of it that's super important, muscle memory. We usually hear that term in sports or music, right? But it's true for speaking too. Your mouth, tongue, and vocal cords all need practice to move the way English requires. When you shadow, you're not just thinking, you're training your muscles to produce those sounds smoothly. It's like learning how to ride a bicycle. At first, it's dumpy, but the more you do it, the easier it gets because your muscles remember the motion.
Right. And what's cool about shadowing is that it activates many language skills at once. When you're listening and speaking at the same time, your brain is multitasking. It's focusing on pronunciation, sentence rhythm, word stress, even emotion. You're not just practicing speaking, you're also tuning your ears to real English. That's why shadowing is way more powerful than just reading a textbook or doing grammar exercises.
You know what it reminds me of? Learning to sing your favorite song. You don't sit down and memorize each word one by one. You just listen to the song over and over. And after a while, you know it. You sing along without even thinking. That's what shadowing does for your English. It helps you absorb the flow and feeling of the language, not just the words.
That's such a relatable example, Priya. And it's also why shadowing helps you sound more natural when you speak. Instead of sounding slow or robotic, your speech starts to have rhythm and energy, like real conversation. Because you're copying how native speakers actually talk, your tone, speed, and stress begin to improve automatically.
And the best part, you're learning in a way that feels active. You're not just watching or listening, you're participating. And that keeps your brain more focused. So if you've ever felt stuck or bored while learning English, shadowing can make it feel fresh again. It turns your practice into something alive, something that sounds, moves, and grows with you.
Let's be honest, speaking English is the part most people struggle with, right? You might understand what others are saying, you know the grammar, you've learned the vocabulary, but when it's your turn to speak, your mind goes blank. That's where shadowing can help. If you've ever felt stuck, like you know what to say, but just can't say it smoothly, shadowing is perfect for you. It builds that fluency you're missing.
Yes, and what I love about it is that it's amazing for shy learners. Not everyone feels comfortable speaking in a group or classroom. Some people feel nervous making mistakes. Shadowing lets you practice out loud, but privately. You can do it at home, in your room, or while you're walking with headphones. There's no one watching. That freedom builds confidence because you're speaking every day, just without the pressure.
And you don't need to be an expert to start. In fact, if you know basic grammar and vocabulary, shadowing is the best way to move to the next level. A lot of people get stuck in that middle zone where they understand but can't express themselves fluently. Shadowing helps bridge that gap. It teaches you how to move from slow, broken sentences to smooth, natural ones just by copying and repeating.
Absolutely. And here's the cool part. Even intermediate or advanced learners can benefit. Let's say your grammar is good, but you want to sound more natural. Maybe you want to reduce your accent or improve your tone. Shadowing helps with that too. By copying native speakers, you start picking up their style, their rhythm, and even small details like emotion and stress. It's like polishing your English until it shines.
And it's flexible for everyone. You can choose the content that fits your level. Beginners can start with slower podcasts or YouTube videos. Intermediate learners can use TED Talks or movie dialogues. You're always in control. That's the beauty of it. It works for anyone who's ready to take their speaking to the next level, no matter where they're starting from.
Exactly. So whether you're someone who's just starting to speak English or someone who already speaks but wants to sound better and more confident, shadowing can help you get there. You don't need a teacher or classroom. You just need your voice, your ears, and a little bit of daily practice.
All right, so let's get into the practical part. How do you actually start shadowing? First, step 1, choose something simple and clear in English. Don't jump into a fast drama or a complicated podcast on day 1. Pick something like a slow English news clip, a beginner-friendly YouTube video, or a short dialogue from a language app. The key is it should be easy enough to understand and short, maybe just 1 to 2 minutes. You're not studying the content, you're training your brain to follow and copy the sounds.
Exactly. Then comes step 2. Just listen. Before you try speaking along, take a moment to understand what's being said. You don't need to catch every word perfectly, but you should get the general meaning. That way, when you start shadowing, you're not lost. It's like warming up before a workout. You prepare your ears before using your voice. This step helps you feel more confident and relaxed when it's time to speak.
Now, here's where the real magic begins. Step 3, play the audio again and speak along with it. Try to copy the speaker's tone, speed, and rhythm as closely as you can. If they sound excited, sound excited. If they slow down, slow down. You're not just saying the words, you're feeling them. Don't worry if you miss a few words. That's normal. The goal is to match the flow, not be perfect.
And don't forget step 4. Pause and rewind if it gets too fast. You're in control of the pace. If a sentence feels too tricky, rewind and try again. You can even repeat the same clip 3 or 4 times. This helps your mouth and ears adjust to the sounds. And over time, you'll notice the sentences becoming easier and more natural. It's like doing reps at the gym. The more you repeat, the stronger your skills become.
And if you're wondering how long to practice, start with just 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's enough to make a difference without feeling overwhelming. You don't have to shadow for an hour. A short, focused session every day will give you real results. Consistency matters more than time. Even a few minutes while making breakfast or walking to work can turn into powerful practice.
And for resources, there are so many great places to begin. Try TED Talks with subtitles, BBC Learning English, or even Easy English YouTube channels that focus on slow, clear speech. Movie clips, cartoon scenes, or audio from English learning apps like Duolingo or Elsa can also be helpful. Just choose what interests you, because if you enjoy it, you'll stick with it. That's the secret.
So now that you've got the basics of shadowing, let's go a little deeper. How can you use it to improve your pronunciation and even your accent? One of the best things about shadowing is that it helps you copy how native speakers actually talk. That includes intonation, the rise and fall of the voice, word stress, and the rhythm of sentences. When you shadow closely, you start to notice patterns. For example, we don't say every word flatly. We stretch some sounds, we drop others. And shadowing teaches your ears to catch those small but important details.
And here's a tip that really works. Exaggerate the sounds at first. If the speaker says can't, stretch it out and say it boldly. Can't. If they rise at the end of a question, you rise too. It might feel silly, but this sharpens your awareness. You start hearing what you never noticed before. Later, you can adjust your voice to sound more natural. But in the beginning, overdoing it is like zooming in. You get a clearer picture of how the language works.
Another powerful technique is recording yourself while shadowing. Use your phone, record a 30-second clip of yourself shadowing a speaker, and then play it back. Compare it to the original. You'll hear the differences in pronunciation, stress, or speed. You don't need to sound exactly like the speaker, but you'll notice where you're off. It's like being your own coach. The more you record and compare, the faster you improve.
Yes, and don't feel like you have to shadow a long paragraph all at once. In fact, it's better to break it into small chunks, maybe one sentence or even one phrase at a time. Repeat it 3, 4, 5 times. This helps you focus on each sound and say it clearly. If you rush through it, you'll miss the details. But if you slow down and practice small parts, your mouth starts to remember the right movements.
And depending on your goal, you can even choose different accents to shadow. If you want to understand or speak British English, shadow speakers like those on BBC News or British YouTubers. If you prefer American English, try podcasts, movies, or shows like Friends or TED Talks. Each accent has its own style, and shadowing helps you get used to whichever one you want to learn.
Totally. And remember, pronunciation isn't about sounding perfect. It's about being clear and confident. Shadowing helps your voice become more natural over time. You start picking up not just the sounds, but the feel of the language. The way your voice flows, pauses, speeds up and slows down, it all becomes smoother. And the best part? It all comes from listening and copying, step by step.
All right, so if you've been shadowing for a while and feel comfortable with the basics, it's time to step it up a bit. This next level is all about chunking. That means shadowing whole phrases, not just individual words. In real conversations, we don't speak one word at a time. We speak in groups of words that go together. Like instead of focusing on just going, shadow the full phrase. I'm gonna be going out later. It trains your brain to recognize patterns, not just vocabulary.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really fun. you start noticing all the little things native speakers use, like fillers, you know, like, I mean, or pauses and natural hesitations. Maybe someone says, I guess I could go. Shadow that whole thing, hesitation and all. That's what makes your English sound real, not robotic. These small parts of speech may not seem important, but they make your English feel alive and authentic.
Another great way to level up is to practice with faster content. Try shadowing movie scenes, podcasts, or interviews where people talk quickly and naturally. You won't catch everything at first, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is to train your brain and mouth to move faster, to flow with the language. Over time, your reaction speed improves and you begin to keep up even with fast speakers.
And here's the key difference. At this stage, you're not just copying words, you're building flow. That means your speech doesn't stop and start with each word, it moves smoothly, like a song. You begin to sound more relaxed, more confident, and more native-like. And once you start noticing this, you'll hear it everywhere, in TV shows, in real conversations, even in YouTube vlogs.
Let's share a few useful chunks or idioms that are perfect for shadowing. Things like, I'm not sure, but maybe, or to be honest with you, or at the end of the day. These kinds of phrases show up all the time in spoken English, and if you can shadow them naturally, they become part of your everyday speaking. You don't have to think, you just say them when the time is right.
Yes, and those chunks are so powerful because they help you buy time while thinking. Like if someone asks a question and you need a moment, you can say, well, let me think, or that's a good question. Shadowing these expressions helps you react quickly and smoothly in real conversations. And that's the whole point, to speak naturally, not perfectly.
So by now you might be excited to try shadowing, and that's great. But before you dive in, let's talk about some common mistakes people often make. One big one, going too fast without understanding. Some learners hit play and start repeating without knowing what the sentence even means. That just leads to confusion. If your brain doesn't understand the message, your mouth is just copying sounds with no purpose. Always listen first, get the idea, and then shadow.
Yes, and here's another mistake I see a lot. Mumbling or speaking too softly while shadowing. Some people feel shy or unsure, so they whisper the words or don't open their mouths properly. But here's the thing, if you don't speak clearly, you're not really training your muscles. Think of it like learning to sing. You have to use your full voice. Speaking out loud builds the confidence and pronunciation you want.
Another common mistake is choosing content that's too hard or too long. If you pick a 30-minute TED Talk with complex vocabulary, you'll feel overwhelmed and give up. Shadowing works best when it's short and clear. Start with something you can finish and feel good about. 2 minutes is enough. Later, you can increase the difficulty, but in the beginning, keep it simple. You'll build confidence much faster that way.
And of course, one of the biggest mistakes is being inconsistent. People shadow one day, skip the next, then forget about it for a week. Language learning needs routine. It doesn't have to be an hour a day. Just 5 to 10 minutes regularly makes a huge difference. And if you can, record yourself once in a while. That small feedback loop helps you stay motivated and notice your progress.
That leads us to another point, not checking yourself at all. If you're shadowing and never listening back, you might repeat the same mistakes without realizing it. You don't need fancy tools. Just use your phone's voice recorder and compare your version with the original. Even once a week, this gives you useful feedback and helps you fine-tune your accent, speed, and clarity.
So, to sum this part up, good shadowing means balance. You need both understanding and imitation. Don't just copy, make sure you know what you're saying. Don't just whisper, speak with energy. And don't just do it once, practice it steadily. When you strike that balance, shadowing becomes one of the most powerful ways to improve your English naturally.
Finally, let's talk about something really important: how to turn shadowing into a daily habit without getting bored. Because honestly, consistency is what brings real results. One great trick is to combine shadowing with things you already love. Like music, shadow the lyrics of your favorite English songs. Into movies or sports, use interviews or scenes from your favorite shows. When you enjoy the content, practice doesn't feel like work. It feels fun.
That's such a good point. And if you're just starting out, don't be afraid to use English subtitles for support. Watching a short video with subtitles helps you understand the meaning while you shadow the words. Over time, you can turn subtitles off, but in the beginning, they're super helpful. They keep you from feeling lost, and that makes the habit easier to stick to.
Another tip that works well is using mobile apps or audio playlists. There are so many English learning apps that offer short clips with native speakers. You can create a playlist of videos or audio that you like and shadow them during your free time. Apps like Elsa, Youglish, or even YouTube channels with clear English can make shadowing easy to do, even when you're on the go.
Exactly. And the best way to make it a real habit is to choose a specific time every day. Maybe it's right after breakfast, or during your evening walk, or while washing dishes. Pick a time that already fits into your daily life. That way, it becomes part of your routine, just like brushing your teeth or checking your phone. The easier it is to do, the more likely you'll keep doing it.
And please remember, you don't have to shadow for 30 minutes every day. Even just 5 minutes daily can bring big results over time. That's how habits grow. Start small, stay regular, and celebrate your progress. Every little step counts. One new sentence today, one new phrase tomorrow, it all adds up. That's how fluency is built.
Well said, Ryan. And with that, we're wrapping up today's episode. We hope you've learned not just what shadowing is, but how to actually use it in your daily life. It's simple, powerful, and it truly works if you stay consistent. Thanks so much to everyone listening today. We know your time is valuable, and we're so happy you spent it with us.
Yes, thank you so much for being part of the Speak Up podcast. If this episode helped you, don't forget to share it with a friend or give us a follow for more practical English tips. Remember, your voice matters. Keep speaking, keep learning, and keep showing up. Until next time, take care and speak up.